Hey guys, Mariah here, your North Carolina real estate agent based in Moore County. I want to talk to you guys about what it's like to go through the buy process with me. Meaning, if you were my buyer client, what would that look like? The first thing we're going to do is have a sit-down conversation where we talk about your goals, your non-negotiables, financing, expectations for both myself and you. And this just gives me an idea of who you are as a person. I think meeting in person is really important, just for connection, really finding out who you are and how I can help you. When we start diving into the financing, we're going to talk about a couple things. Whether that's a mortgage you'd like to get or you're paying cash, finding out exactly what you're planning to do is important. If you are not pre-approved but you plan to get a mortgage, connecting you with someone who you can trust, or if you have someone that you know you can trust, reaching out to them and being able to get that pre-approval letter so that when we go and look at homes and place an offer, sellers know that you're serious. I'm going to find properties for you online, usually send you a list. We're probably going to narrow those down a little bit between you and I, talk about them. I like to go see 5. Initially, I like to just start with 5. Once we see those properties, I'm going to ask you how you felt about each one of them in detail. This gives me an idea of if we're going in the right direction or we need to go another direction. So that preliminary showing that we do, like I said, I like to keep that under 5. This just tells me if we're moving in the right direction or not. So at this point in time, we have now found your home. Before we place an offer, you and I are going to sit down and have a conversation about due diligence, what exactly that is, earnest money, what exactly that is, how the process goes, who you would like your attorney to be, what inspections you would like to do moving forward on this property. We're going to talk about everything we can possibly talk about before I write that offer. Once I have all this information from you, I will draw up the offer. It's important to know those things that I just mentioned moving forward. Let's talk about due diligence, for example. When placing an offer, a seller is going to expect usually due diligence money or earnest money. This tells them that you're serious about buying their property and essentially gives them funds to take it off of the market. So it will be marked as pending. Due diligence is actually going to be a fee that you pay technically for a due diligence period. That period can be 10 days, 14 days, 21 days. We kind of tailor that per buyer there. Due diligence money is going to be paid directly to the seller and is non-refundable. Earnest money is going to be paid to the attorney. It's going to sit with the attorney until closing day, and earnest money you can actually get back. It can be returned to the buyer if they cancel within their due diligence period. Once the seller has accepted your offer, you are officially under contract. What I will first do is reach out to your attorney of choice, and I will send them all the information they need for a closing date. Once I've spoken to your attorney, throughout that process until closing day, I will be reaching out to both your lender and your attorney, getting updates from them, making sure things are moving in the right direction, and I will of course be following up with you and giving you updates as well. The next thing we'll be doing is inspections. Any inspections that you told me you'd like to do, we'll make sure we get those scheduled and taken care of. As a buyer, here are some examples of inspections that you could do. Home inspections, HVAC inspections, termite inspections, well inspections. I mean, really anything. Any inspection you can think of, you can pretty well do. If there's a pool or a hot tub, you can have those inspected as well. It's just really important to know what you're getting into as a buyer. Once inspections are done and the due diligence period is over, we are now in kind of a waiting period. We're waiting to make sure if you have a lender, everything's moving in the right direction there. Like I said, lots of follow-ups. You'll be getting constant updates from me. Yeah, if we have a due diligence repair request, that will have been something that we did before the due diligence period was over as well. That is where those inspections that you did, if we would like to ask the seller for any help with that, we would have drawn that document up. But pretty well after that's all said and done, we're kind of just in that waiting period. Okay. The last thing we're going to do is schedule a final walkthrough. I like to do the final walkthrough, like if I possibly can, the hour before we close or a couple hours before we close. I like to check to make sure the water's on and working, all the sinks come on, any appliances are working. We want to make sure the heat and air is working. We just make sure when we viewed the property that it's exactly as it is at the final walkthrough before you close on it. It's just vital to make sure you do that. So you and I will be having a final walkthrough before we go to the closing table. And of course, the last step is going to be closing with the attorney. That usually takes, about half an hour. You're gonna go in, sign your documents. You and I are probably gonna go outside afterwards and have a little party. And then the attorney will record the deed. And once the deed is recorded, I will then be able to pass you the keys. And congratulations on your new home. All right, so that was just a short little recap of kind of how buyers go through the process, how you as a buyer would go through the process. There's so much work done behind the scenes. If you're interested in more information, please do reach out. Talk to you guys next time.